I'm T the Barber.
And I'm Raheem Morris, defensive coordinator of the San Francisco 49ers.
And this is Laced Up. You've been in the Bay for about, 2 months now?
Oh man, it don't feel like 2 months running back and forth.
Talk about the transition.
It's been awesome. It's I work in a people business and it's about the people. So when you get a chance to go to work every day and have some familiar faces like, Coach Janahan and John Lynch, guys that you worked with before, guys you've been around, guys you had a chance to actually coach and coach with. So it feels like home. And then when you get introduced to, all the other, extra parts of being in the Bay, meeting you, getting a chance to come over and get a cut, at the Hall of Fame shop, having a chance to really be a part of that character, be a part of this culture, hanging out with a bunch of guys from here and doing some of the things that you want to do. It's been a lot of fun. The toughest part is the transition to getting your family over here, while your kids finish school, bouncing back and forth from Atlanta to the Bay. But, the airport here in San Jose is outstanding.
Real smooth.
So that makes it a lot smoother for some of the things that get a little hard at times.
Okay. So I got to ask you, because I transitioned here too from the South, and the hardest adjustment for me was the food. It was hard for me to start embracing the culture, like the different types of food that everyone embraces here. Like, what's been the toughest part of the transition so far for you?
I've been to food. It's pretty easy for me to transition with the food. Pretty easy for me to transition to try new things. Kind of open-minded that way. I kind of mentioned, I kind of got into the toughest part before you got to the question, but it's being out here without the fam, being out here without my son, my daughters, my wife, having a chance to get those guys to be out here with me on a consistent basis. Like I said, going back and forth, doing those things is fun. But it is nice when they get a chance to get settled and you can have those guys being able to go watch his baseball games, being able to watch my daughter's lacrosse games, getting my daughter involved in some horse activities because she loves the horses, which is big in this area. So I'm excited about that.
Now, let me back it up a little bit and just get into the background for the people who don't know, which majority of our viewers do. How long have you been coaching now?
Oh man, now you're gonna expose my age on your podcast, man. Just tender on them. I've been coaching, let's just say when I graduated college in 97, I went right into it in 98 and was fortunate enough to coach, at the college I went to. I was fortunate enough to be able to go to Hofstra University, and then I was able to transition to coach at Cornell, which is an Ivy League, which I had no business being there from an academic standpoint, but it was fun to go out there and coach kids a lot smarter than me. But I met some great people. And then fortunately, that transitioned to me to the National Football League while I was in Tampa from 2002 and was lucky enough to stay there other than my 1 year going to Kansas State in 2006. Coming right back to be able to transition to a couple different teams, great organizations with great people, being in different walks of life since 2002 in the National Football League, and it's been absolutely outstanding.
Describe the work ethic, man, because you have a relentless drive from someone to start, all the way at the bottom in your professional field, and to navigate yourself, through, of course, your hard work and your talent to the top of the top. How does somebody, even begin to think about, when I think about the ladder of, sports or the NFL, it's many different roles, right? You're in. From a coaching aspect, there's all types of coaches, position coaches, coordinators, assistants, all that type of great stuff. But how did you basically just go from where you started at to where you are now?
I got really fortunate. When I was at Hofstra University, we were coached by the late great Joe Gardy, and he had a long career in the National Football League as defensive coordinator for the New York Jets. And he ran our program, with a very pro style. And we felt that we were pros even back then. even though we weren't. We were a 1AA program at the time. We did a lot of winning. We got a lot of hard lessons. The work ethic started there from, getting up early in the morning, being the first at the office, being the first to do all the different things that we needed to do to get ready for the day, whether it was coaching Oakland there. And I really think it started there. And then after that, man, I got really fortunate when I got my first job at National Football League, being around some of the greats. A lot of people won't know Monty Kiffin, very defensive coordinator.
Oh, yeah.
The late grade one himself. That taught us a lot of different things about defense, the fundamentals, the standard of play, what it's like. And that staff, with Mike Tomlin as a secondary coach, who I work directly with every day, with Ryan Marinelli, our defensive line coach, like the essence of ball and what it looks like to play hard up front. And Joe Barry, our linebacker coach, who was young and up and coming herself, but very detailed, the great communicator that he was. And I was able to be a part of staff when they were a lot smaller. And I had a lot more responsibilities being with those guys that gave me so much and a wealth of knowledge that I can never, ever forget.
You are known, for your coaching style, for being a defensive genius. Like, is that something that, you've always loved that side of the game, or is it just kind of like something that just came later on, or what? Talk to me about that.
Again, man, I think coaching is about being nosy. And I've probably been one of the most fortunate coaches in the National Football League, being able to coach on both offense and defense side of the ball, and being able to be with a bunch of the different guys that I was able to be with, whether I was coaching with Kyle Shanahan on offense or coaching on the opposite side of the ball on defense when I was with him. The key to that was always being nosy. That cross-training that we was able to do, whether it was myself and Sean McVay, when we're all in Washington together, or myself and Sean McVay, when we're in LA together, myself and John Gruden, when we're in Tampa together. I just think the cross-training of all the work that we've been able to put in, being able to focus and really be able to be obsessed with being a great coach, or obsessed with being a great technician, or finding out ways to be ahead of the game, has been something that's kept me motivated and extremely detailed in what we do and how we play this game and how we coach this game. I think is the best part. But again, man, it all goes back to the people. You can't talk about football, you can't talk about being detailed without talking about the people that you know, the people that you met, the people that you were lucky and fortunate enough to coach along the way when you're talking about these things.
Do you have a favorite stint in your career? Do you have a favorite time frame? Do you have, something that really stands out to you? Like, or is it just kind of like all a part of the journey? Like, nothing really sets apart from anything else?
I'd be lying to you if I didn't tell you there was favorite stints. There's nothing like winning the championship.
Let me say so far. Okay.
So far, there's nothing like winning the championship. When you have an opportunity to get into the National Football League and coach with those great coaches that I talked about at Tampa, and win a championship in 2002 with that legendary defense, and John Lynch and Warren Sapp and Derek Brooks and Rondé Barber and Dexter Jackson and Simeon Rice, Greg Spires, Anthony McFarland.
That's the whole team too, man. I was watching that, man. I was there for that.
Brian Clark, and you get a chance to be a part of that, winning the championship. There's nothing like it, and to be able to do that in my first year coaching football, I thought was outstanding. But then to be able to move up the ladder, be able to go to another one in 2016 and have a heartbreaking loss in Tampa with some great people and some great friends like Julio Jones and Kyle Shanahan calling the offense, where we were able to do some really special things with Mohamed Sanu, a bunch of different guys. And then being able to go win another one when I went to LA with Sean McVay and that Rams in that year, which is not great for this area. Obviously, winning that great defensive, championship game versus the Niners. But those championship moments, those championship games, playing in the playoffs and having significant roles when everybody's watching, are the times in this game that you remember the most.
I think when it comes to my side of it, for barbering, I feel like once you have a person of character, like no matter what they do, or what I'm saying, it's just easier to bond and mesh with, like whether you've known them for a while or not, because it all starts off with trust, right? Ain't no doubt. You don't know me, but it's my first time meeting you, but you trust me to at least execute what you tell me.
That man T-Line, y'all. I'm gonna send out first time reading. This is
about my fourth or fifth cut with T.
No, just saying in the beginning though, right? And that's usually how it goes, right?
When we met each other, he tried to have the sentimental moment. He had to fall back right there. So I'm not mad at him, man. I appreciate him and his greatness.
That's not how it went. That's not what happened, but we'll roll with that. We'll take that. So, you know, sometimes when you get a haircut, right, they say that your barber or barbershop or during your haircut time could be like a therapy session somewhat, right? And I know that, you know, the game carries a lot of, it's a lot physically, it's a lot mentally. Tell me, you know, do you feel like when you are in the chair, do you feel like, you know, it's a chance for you to kind of just unwind, like you were saying, a little bit, relax, let a little bit out? Like, tell me something that's mentally, you know, like from the mental aspect of all of the great things you do, like how does that weigh on you?
It's gonna be a lot of mentoring. It's gonna be fun for you to see the whole process, because you get the all-season cuts when you get a chance to come in here and just kind of, you know, have that home-like feeling, right, where you get a chance to get away. But you'll also, you know, throughout the course of the year, get the in-season cuts when you are absolutely exhausted by the end of the week and you just get a chance to get a little bit of rest before that game, and you'll get a chance to feel those moments as well. And I think more of it is the connection just between your barber, the shop, the cut, the transition to going out there to try to be your very best version of yourself every single weekend than anything. And like, I think like this is a part of it. You know, it's almost like getting a massage. It just changes the mentality. It changes your state. It changes everything about what you want to do and how you want to go win that football game that week.
So game day. All right. Game day, are you the type of coach who you want to get cut for every game, or are you the type of coach where you take a couple weeks off, or you believe in, you know, you got to be fresh and got to be ready before the big game?
Oh, I'm getting a cut every game. I mean, you have to. It's just, like I just told you, man, it's a part of the process. And it's something about it, man. It's like the national anthem, right? When the national anthem gets sung, that's like that go button. You know, when you start to get that cut, that's that wind down mode to get ready in the preparation for some self-care to get ready for that game. And like, I think it's all a part of your routine. Everybody has a different routine. It's just part of my routine to be able to come out here and get a cut with, you know, the barbers that I mentioned before, to be able to do those things. That's why it's important to have those connections with those guys.
Let me ask you this, Coach R.
Like, you be rubbing in my nose on camera, man. Like, no, that ain't gonna be. I'm this kind of guy, man. I'm a grown man first, babe.
Okay, so tell me, Coach, game day, back to game day. Are you hat, no hat, visor, only?
I switch it up. I've done no hat moments. I've done a lot of hat moments. You know, a lot of the hat moments are really those lock-in moments. You put them on, but like, so a lot of time you come out of pregame, no hat, then you put the hat on. It's less about you and your cut at that moment.
Right.
It's more about the game, but like, it's just kind of a feel thing, what the uniform requires.
Okay. Back in the 80s, right? 80s, 70s, you would see coaches on the sideline with suit, eyes, you know, brim, that type of stuff. Almost dressed like, I would say, like monsters used to, right? Do you think in this era of coaching, do you think we'll ever see that again? One. And two, do you feel like that was better for the game, or more so the comfort type of style that we have now?
It's a comfort style, but, you know, somebody just brought that back recently. Jack Del Rio, Nolan brought it back. I think those guys brought it back in honor of their fathers, you know, just recently, a couple of years ago, wearing the suit in the sideline. But now, man, the game is fast. You know, guys like to be comfortable so you can move around down there. Dudes are coming at you pretty quickly, man, and you got to have some athletic wear to be able to get out the way. So I doubt if we get back to the suits. I do like the suit movement when you're traveling, when you get a chance to go on the road. I love putting on the suits just for the presentation of walking in, and like I told you, it's part of that routine. That's another part of it, like dressing up in a suit game and having a nice suit when you walk into the stadiums that you're going to go to, business stadiums particularly.
Draft day, one of the biggest days in the season. One of the biggest days from a coaching standpoint, from an organizational standpoint. How do you prepare for that?
You know, this is a lot longer answer than you probably want. You know, but you know, for the coaches, you know, the preparation for the draft starts after the season. When your season ends, when you guys get a chance to get back in the building, usually after the Super Bowl, you know, you'll get your list, you'll get your preparation, you start evaluating, you start looking at all the potential prospects that you could potentially have and all the rounds, different scenarios, potential free agents, potential people that can be a part of your organization to help you win that fits your ethos. And that's what the coaches do when they get an opportunity to do that. But it starts well before that, man, with our scouts on the road, our people with boots on the ground, that's bringing back the vital information that we need in order to be able to evaluate these guys from a perspective of how they would fit with our football team. You know, how they fit with our football team from a character standpoint, how they fit from a football team from a love the game standpoint. Do they fit the things that we require for them to come in here and have a golden helmet to be a part of our organization? Do they have all the things that we want to be able to bring a part of our physical, our environment? How do they fit with some of the guys that we wanted to be a part of? And like, so it goes well before we get involved from a coaching standpoint. And it just extends into this moment, going all the way up until really hours before, till you make those decisions. You know, there's a lot of guys that can make some of those decisions right now pretty quickly, picking early. But when you're in a 90 situation and you're picking as late as we can, you got to be ready for a bunch of different scenarios, a bunch of different opportunities to either do anything you can to improve your roster and improve your team, and thinking about the guys in your team as well. Adding these guys to the roster, I think is the lifeline of the National Football League, is the lifeline of the different teams, and like I think is one of the most important days. Although football is 24/7 now, on how many people are in the room and what happens, and I think the NFL has done such a great job of providing access in all 32 teams' rooms to be able to have that camera so you can get kind of a view of what it looks like and how it feels inside the war room. But the people that are in there are a lot of the decision makers. You know, obviously the people that they have the high regard for to be able to ask those immediate questions to. Sometimes they're the people that's got to make some of the calls in the preparation of the timely standpoint to be able to get the things going across. There's a bunch of different scenario things in there with analytics now that goes into it, which you guys all know about as far as whether there's trade potentials and whether the pick potentials and things of that nature. And when the clock hits, you pull a card on who you want that player to be. And then a lot of times sometimes there's phones ringing, there's things that's happening, and that's why it takes the entire time limit when you're making those decisions. You know, every once in a while you'll get some of the quick triggers when there's that guy there that you love and you don't care what the scenarios are. But for the most part, it's a very timely deal. And it's more, like you mentioned, all the emotions of it, it's more excitement than anything on what's happening and how it's going about. There's always some angst, there's always some game day angst that you have where people have that nervous energy on what's about to happen. But it is absolutely one of those moments that is pretty close. You know, you can't compare it to football because it's not like calling a play on 3rd down and 7 or calling a play on offense or defense or making a play on special teams. But it's pretty significantly close when we got to make those decisions. Something we got a lot more time to prepare for it.
Okay, so my last question, and it's for sure my last one now, is what do you have to say to a coach right now who's a JUCO coach, a D2 coach, a D3 coach, trying to make his way to the D1 level or trying to transition to the league? Like, what kind of advice could you give, you know, one of the up and coming guys to prepare themselves to get to where they want to go?
You know, you get that question a lot, and the crazy part about it is it's really just being the best version of yourself and what you're doing. Rob Marinelli used to say the best, be where your feet are.
Okay.
And if you're a JUCO coach, a high school coach, a college coach, a up and coming young NFL coach, you do the job that you're required to do at a very high level. That will provide a lot of clarity for you in how you move up. Role clarity in our profession is probably the best thing that you can have. You don't have to accept the role you're in, but if you do the very best job in the role that you have, all those things take care of itself.
That's game right there. That's game. And to the young players, that are trying to get to the next level? What you got for them?
Very similar. It's a lot different than when we came up, man. It's you got the NIL, you got a bunch of different ways that they can make money. There's a lot more decisions after going through that process than our generation had.
Right.
But it's very similar, man. Being on your feet and letting that stuff take care of itself. Making smart business decisions based on what your role is and how you play and how you go about your business. And always, obviously focusing on what can help you at the highest level and how can you gain more information as you go. Like it's this thing with the players, man. It's like, just keep working on your craft, doing what you do the best, and like you'll be the greatest that you can possibly be.